The worst was the feeling of powerlessness. Because what can one do against planes which are bombing you? A bomb would fall through the entire stairwell and explode in the cellar, and the whole building would collapse.
The Poles fought back against the German war machine in any way they could.
Workshops were set up, inventing things like, for example, a kind of petrol bomb catapult, a board which would sling burning bottles onto the German positions and set buildings on fire. There were plenty of ideas, anything to keep fighting and not give ground.
But bravery and ingenuity were not enough. It was clear that with that was doomed.
The uprising was only planned to last 3 to 6 days. Then we were absolutely convinced that we would be given help, that there was an Allied agreement. All along we believed that we would get help from the West and also from the East.
Britain had gone to war to defend Polish sovereignty, and the Polish government in exile now put pressure on Churchill to support the freedom fighters. Surely the Allies would not refuse them now. On the 13th of August, at an Allied airbase in Brindisi, southern Italy, RAF bomb aimer Jim Orton was called to a briefing for a special operation.
We went into a hut where there was the briefing to take place, and on the wall at the end of the hut was a very big map and a tape, a pink tape, going from Brindisi to Warsaw. We thought that's nothing to do with us, we're a bomber squadron. The Poles are on our side, we're not likely to be bombing them. We thought somebody was playing a joke, perhaps. Then we were briefed by an officer who told us, tonight you will not be dropping bombs, you will be dropping supplies in Warsaw, where the Poles have started an uprising. Well, we all thought, there's nothing we can do really. Warsaw is too far away. We'll never get there and back in one hop. Then we were briefed by a Polish officer. He addressed us in poor English. He said, for 13 days these people, they fight. If you will not help them, they die.
That evening, a group of Liberator and Halifax bombers set off for the beleaguered city. Nothing had prepared them for what they saw.
What nobody had told us was that Warsaw was in flames. The city was flaming. Fire was horrifying. And when we opened the bomb doors, we could smell the smoke from the fires. Our crew of sergeants decided we were not going all that way to Poland to drop the supplies in the wrong place, to drop them so the Germans could get them. And we spent 50 minutes flying around over Warsaw while other aircraft were being shot down, some of them containing friends of mine. We climbed up a little higher so we could have a better view of the whole of the city, and counting the bridges of the Vistula, we decided where Żoliborz was, which we understood to be in the hands of the insurgents, the Poles, and I dropped the supplies there from something under 500 feet. When we landed at Brindisi, taxied to the end of the runway, and then the engines spluttered and conked out, truly out of fuel.
256 Allied airmen died in the airdrops, too heavy a cost for the Allies. If the planes could refuel on Soviet-held territory, however, the missions would be less risky. Captain Hugh Lungi was a member of the British military mission in Moscow.
I was on the telephone every day trying to get meetings with the Soviet authority, with the Ministry of Defense, and particularly our Air Force people, in order to demand landing rights in the territory held by the Red Army near Warsaw. Polish territory, but held by the Red Army. We weren't given an answer. Nobody, neither our ambassador nor our head of the military mission or anybody, was given any particular reason why these rights should be denied to our aircraft, who are, after all, helping not only the Poles, but in a sense we're helping the Red Army. All we got was this, well, perhaps we'll let you know. And then, no, we were refused. We couldn't understand why, except, of course, we guessed why. It was Stalin.
Warsaw's fate had been sealed 9 months earlier in Tehran. Roosevelt and Churchill, anxious to keep Russia at war with Germany, had conceded the future of Poland to Stalin as an incentive to keep him fighting.
Driving the Germans out, this is what we all wanted, including the Poles themselves. But all talk of an independent and free Poland was castles in the air, as they say. It was really a pipe dream once the Red Army was there.
The Germans continued unhindered in carrying out Heinrich Himmler's explicit order. Every inhabitant must be killed, no prisoners are to be taken. Warsaw is to be razed to the ground, a terrifying example for the whole of Europe. Warsaw waited for help from her allies, but Stalin had his own plans for the Poles.